Hello again. I'm back with some additional information about parts of speech and the technical details that some people seem to have some problem with. It appears that the information in the textbook and the PowerPoints that I provided earlier were insufficiently detailed. Further examples, further explanation seem to be required, desired. I've had some communication with students, so that seemed very reasonable to me. So I'm going to take a closer look at some information we've already seen and make some comments on that. And I'm going to bring up, first of all, this particular set of slides. It's reviewing verbs, transitive and intransitive. And this is based in part on another text, a text called Doing Grammar by Max Morenberg. And I hope you'll find the information and my comments to be more helpful than they were perhaps the first go round. So what's a verb? Well, a verb is really the chassis of a sentence. They're essential in sentences. Verbs name actions, states of being, perceptions, and appearances. For this course, we're only going to be talking about two types of verbs, transitive and intransitive. Other grammars give information such as linking verbs. A linking verb is an intransitive verb, but it has certain characteristics. Those characteristics really aren't necessary to our purposes. One thing to say is that very few verbs are inherently transitive or intransitive. For example, a same verb, I give the word speak, can be used as either a transitive verb or an intransitive verb. Most intransitive verbs may end a sentence, as in this example, the mayor spoke. An intransitive verb may also be followed by adverbs, words and phrases that answer questions like how, where, when, and how often. Here's a more expanded example. The mayor spoke eloquently, answering the question how, at the meeting, answering the question where. So, what is a transitive verb? Well, a transitive verb is a verb, typically an action, which must be followed immediately in sentences by a noun phrase, or a pronoun. And the noun phrase, or pronoun following that verb is called the direct object. And very often, the direct object has something done to it by the subject. To pick up on our earlier example, the mayor spoke Spanish eloquently at the meeting. The word Spanish is a proper noun. It's the name of the language. And Spanish is the direct object of the transitive verb spoke. And although I said very few nouns are inherently transitive or intransitive, there are two you should be aware of. The verbs be and become are always intransitive. The verb be always equates the subject with its predicate, and the predicate may be a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. And the verb become is typically followed only by a noun or an adjective. And here are some examples. We are students. They were happy and relieved. Sheila is in the auditorium. Jason and Frank became scientists. They later became famous too. Here are some sample sentences with intransitive verbs. The boiler exploded with a loud bang. A dancer's body is her living voice. The aircraft commander behaved prudently. Dr. Jekyll became a different person after his experiment. The groom showed up in a brocade tuxedo. Amelia Earhart disappeared in 1937 during a global fight. Excuse me, during a global flight. Now, I hope she didn't have any fights. All right. Here are some sample sentences with transitive verbs. And remember, a transitive verb is only transitive because it has a direct object. Americans love informal dining. Sagebrush carpets western terrain. Stephen King gives readers scary stories. Notice that stories are what Stephen King gives. Stories, that word, is the direct object. The Senate came up with a compromise bill. The International Olympic Committee withdrew the medal. Thoreau offered advice to a young couple in Walden. Now, try your hand again at identifying verbs as transitive or intransitive. Check out online exercise Grammar 8. Talk to you soon.